Hello, welcome to Moose Jaw This Week. I'm your host, Lyle Johnson. Today we're up at the Masonic Lodge in the dining room. And some of you may have not had the chance to be in here, but it's a really nice atmosphere. And of course, some of the things that happen in our community are what we're going to talk about with Lynann Pethick, a member of the Optimist Club in Moose Jaw. And welcome, Lynann.
Thank you.
And so, how long have you been a member of the Optimist Club? Because you were in another one before, but you're still a member of the Optimist.
Yes, I've been a member since 1989. So
You're coming up on an anniversary.
yeah, pretty well. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. And of course, you've served many positions on the executive over the years.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I was treasurer for almost 20 years, and been a board member. But that's the ones I've been.
Ones you're proud of.
Ones I'm proud of. Yeah.
And Chris Turcotte is currently the vice president or vice chair, depending on who was in, of the Optimist. And Chris, how long have you been involved?
Actually, 10 years this year, so yeah.
It's your anniversary.
It's my anniversary. Here's me.
It's so good. So the reason we got you guys here is to talk about, your son, Lane, and also you got some events surrounding that, which is really good. So tell us about Lane, first of all. Other than he's a wonderful boy, and he keeps his room very tidy when he was here.
Yeah, he did actually.
Yeah.
No, Lane is currently deals with autism in the state of Texas, and he is. I don't know what he's an autism spectrum disorders and behavior consultant. That's his title.
Yeah.
He travels all over actually all over Texas. He has done some, like you said, international. In fact, he just came back from Vietnam, setting up a school over there for autistic children. This is his second time coming to Canada, to Moose Jaw.
And it was a huge hit last time.
Yes, it was. And actually, he still has people calling him from 2 years ago, asking him questions. And he's more than happy to deal with or help anybody, because it's his passion.
Yes.
I often ask him how he can go 7 days a week, because that's what he does. And he says the word is, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he loves to help these kids. And he has, like last time he was here, he was telling us some of the experiences that he had, and people were really fascinated. And when he sees what it does for children and how it brings them out of their shell, what he does, he's very proud of that, and those kids never forget him.
No, and autism is such a. I don't know how to describe it. It's a very spectrum is a good word, because there's so many aspects to it.
Yes.
That in terms of mental ability and social interaction, all those things combine to create an interesting lifetime career for him.
Yeah, and that's what our problem is. We don't know what spectrum each child is at, and that's what he picks up on, and that's how he helps them.
Yeah. Now, Chris, you've got some events going on besides having Lane come here. What else is happening?
Well, I'm not totally right up on this because I don't have that paperwork, but there is, our conference is on the Thursday, the Friday, and
May the
4th, May the 4th, and it's an all-day thing from 9 to 4, but on the, I believe it's either the Tuesday or the Wednesday. I think it's the Tuesday. He's going to be at the library in the evening to talk. And that one is more directed to parents specifically in terms of what they're experiencing. And for that, it's not so much just autism. He's going to be talking about screen time and what kind of effect that has on a developing brain. So that's always an interesting topic, and it's always seems to be timely.
And of course, you're being a teacher. 20 years ago, autism was not part of our spectrum as a teacher.
Not in the regular classroom. There was always kids with autism. We just didn't know who they were, and we certainly didn't seem to see as many of them. But most of those children would have been in 25, 30 years ago, just in a alternate school. Now they're in the school, which is wonderful. But now we all, not just one or two teachers, all of us need to know how to deal with it, how to interact with them, how to give them the best experience they can.
And of course, because every child deserves a full life.
Absolutely.
And of course, you think of movies like Rain Man and
And that's one end of the spectrum.
Yes.
You know, that's one end of the spectrum. That's those kids usually called Asperger's. They are extremely bright. They still struggle with some of the social elements. And quite honestly, sometimes they're only bright in one, their gift is in one area, whether it's language or math or music. We had a young man actually here in Moose Jaw who was incredibly talented in music. But you know, the other end of the spectrum, they can't, like everybody else, an autistic child can have a multitude of disabilities. So they can have cognitive disabilities, they can have hearing disabilities, they can be learning disabled, they can have sensory issues. So anything that any other child can have, an autistic child can also struggle with. So that adds to its a dual disability, and it just makes it that much more challenging to try to figure it all out.
Well, thanks. And then there's a cost involved for the Friday workshop, because it lasts all day. And so talk to me about that and what people can expect to have during that day.
Okay, it is $150, and it's an all-day session, and I'll just mention what the sessions are. The session number 1 is Autism in the Brain, which is his main subject, and then that's the neurological factors that affect behavior and learning. Then the second session will be on strategies for learning and behavior, and he takes time to answer questions and talk to anybody that wants to talk, you know, about personal things and stuff like that. But it does, like I said, like Chris said, it runs from 9 to 4, and it will be a full day.
Yep.
And there is a registration form. Probably their best bet is to contact Chris in regards to that, and she'll give you her phone number, and then she can outline what is on the registration form.
Okay. Chris.
What is my phone number? You want to call?
What's your phone number?
It's 692-8020. You can also find it online if you look on the Friendly City Optimist Facebook page or our website. There, the information is there. But if you have some questions or just some concerns, please feel free to call me. Chances are you'll have to leave a message and I'll call you back.
You'll be out doing TV interviews or something.
Yeah, with Lyle, yeah. Yeah, if people want to give me a call, I'm more than welcome for that, yeah.
Well, this is a really good thing, and I'm glad that you got Lynn to come back again, because it's a hard thing. This trip to Vietnam was quite unique, and we've got a minute or so we can just touch about it. That he had dealt with a family, a Vietnamese family, that had an autistic child, and he did such a good program that the people, they didn't like living in Canada and in the U.S. They went back to Vietnam, but they said, we want you to come and with them. And he's going, yeah, all right. So what happened?
There's no program over there, and they knew of children that needed help over there, and they were hoping to get help like he had helped their children. So he went over. He was over. Well, he just returned last Saturday, and he was there for a week. I can't remember what part he was at. It was a southern tip, and he went to one specific school and has started to set up the program. And he will be working with them online mainly and corresponding with them. But he said it was a fantastic trip. Fantastic, yeah.
He has to go back again. I think he has to take his dad with him.
Yeah.
Is that true?
He says he has to go back again. So I don't know when, but when he does, yeah. So, yeah, it was a real experience for him. I can hardly wait till he gets here to tell us all about it.
Yeah. And of course, as I mentioned, Lloyd wants to go. Now that he's set the groundwork, he'd like to go because he's fascinated by the culture and the location.
Yes.
Well, you guys, is there anything else you want to add, Chris?
I do. I would like to say that this is not just for teachers. This is not just for parents. This is for police, the fire, anyone in the community who has time to, you know, the lady who works at the coffee shop and always has this gentleman come in and is struggling to figure out how to best deal with him. This is for everybody in our community. We want to welcome these people into our community and make them feel good, and we want everyone in our community understand who they are and why they do the things they do and what we can do to make it easier.
And Lynann, anything you want to add?
Nope, that's pretty well it.
So come when is it?
It is Friday, May the 4th, at the Heritage Inn, from
till
9
4?
a.m. to 4 p.m.
And register in advance?
Yes, please do.
And it's $150? And the
$150.
form you can get from Chris? Or
Right.
Online, is it online?
Yep, it will be.
Okay.
Or it is. It is online.
All right, well, thank you both for taking time to come here today and talk about this, because it's something that's current, and it's important in our society to be able to understand what for many years wasn't understood. And gradually we're starting to connect with the people and finding ways to communicate and to make lives positive for all people involved. So autism, it's a pretty important thing. Thanks to my guests for being here, and thanks to you for watching. We'll see you again soon on Moose Jaw this week.